Thanks for the ride, but no one wants a mechanic at the reunion, my sister said with a smirk. I shrugged, drove off, and canceled the tow I'd booked for Uncle Ray's truck. I chuckled and headed to a cabin in the Smokies alone. A day later, my phone lit up. As I stood in the gravel lot of the community center, the faint smell of oil clung to my hands, and my knuckles were still smudged with grease from tuning up my sister Lauren's vintage Mustang that morning. She'd begged me for weeks to get it running for her big entrance at the family reunion, our family reunion, and I delivered. I'm a mechanic, I've always been the guy who keeps everyone's wheels spinning. Under the glow of string lights, the air buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses. Then Lauren raised her beer, her voice cutting through the chatter. Hey Jake, thanks for the ride, but no one wants a mechanic at the reunion. She smirked, her new fiancé Matt chuckling beside her like it was some inside joke. The crowd froze, cousins, aunts, uncles, some let out awkward laughs, while others stared at their plates of potato salad. I was in my faded flannel boots, scuffed from sliding under her car, and her words slammed into me like a thrown wrench. My chest tightened, but I forced a grin, muttering, guess not, before stepping back toward the shadows of the lot. Inside, something splintered, not loud, just a quiet snap. I'd spent weeks on that Mustang, scouring parts with my own cash, skipping sleep to make it purr. I'd driven her 2 hours here so she could shine, and now I was the punchline. Standing there, I watched them toast her engagement, her perfect life with Matt, her golden hair catching the light. Me? I was just the guy in the corner, invisible except for the stains on my sleeves. The sting wasn't just her words, it was the truth they carried. I'd been fixing their messes my whole life, and this was my thanks. As the music kicked up and they danced, I made up my mind, I was done being their grease-stained savior. No more, not after tonight. I didn't sleep after the reunion. I sat in my truck, engine off, staring at the dashboard like it could tell me why I'd let it go this far. Lauren's smirk kept flashing in my mind, that glint in her eye as she turned me into a joke. I'd spent years keeping her life on track, literally. When she totaled her first car, drunk and crying at 2 a.m., I hauled it to the garage, fixed it for free, and never said a word. When she quit her barista gig because coffee smells sucked, I covered her rent so she wouldn't lose her lease. Mom's van breaking down last winter? I towed it, rebuilt the transmission, and ate the cost while Lauren was off chasing some photography passion that never paid a dime. I didn't go to trade school, I couldn't afford it because I was too busy working doubles at the garage to keep us all afloat. She got to dream, I got calluses. By dawn, I was done stewing. Uncle Ray had cornered me at the reunion, whining about his pickup's busted axle. Jake, you're the only one who can fix it cheap, he'd said, clapping my shoulder like I owed him. I booked a tow for him that night, but now I grabbed my phone and canceled it with a quick text, figure it out. Then I scrolled through lodging sites, fingers shaking, and booked a cabin in the Smokies, 3 days, no Wi-Fi, just me and the trees. Lauren texted as I packed a duffel, Jake, where'd you go? Mustang stalling again, Matt's pissed, I laughed, a dry, hollow sound, and didn't reply. Let her deal with it. At my apartment, I dug through a shoebox under my bed, receipts crumpled and faded, $3,214.67, 67 cents total for her Mustang over 2 years, spark plugs, brake pads, a new carburetor, all on me. I'd skipped trips with buddies, turned down overtime that could have padded my savings, just to see her beam when that car roared to life. And what did I get? No one wants a mechanic. The words burned, but they woke me up. I'd been their pit crew, their ATM, their grunt, never their equal. I thought back to last Christmas when I'd handed Lauren the keys after a full rebuild. She'd hugged me, sure, but then bragged to Matt's rich parents about restoring it herself. I'd let it slide, always did. My phone buzzed again, Mom this time. Lauren said, you bailed, what's wrong with you? Nothing, I wanted to scream, for once nothing. But I didn't answer. I tossed the receipts back in the box, grabbed my keys, and headed for the truck. The drive to the Smokies was 4 hours, and I cranked the radio to drown out the guilt creeping in. I'd always been the fixer, Dad's truck when he lost his job, Aunt Kim's sedan when her ex took the good car. I'd patched tires, patched lives, and got nothing but grease under my nails and a pat on the head. Lauren was the star, 28, charming, always figuring it out, while I picked up the slack. She'd flunked out of art school on my dime, laughed it off with, thanks, bro, you're the best. And I'd smiled like an idiot. Halfway up the mountain, I pulled over, the engine ticked as it cooled. The air smelled like pine, sharp and clean, nothing like the oil-soaked garage. I leaned against the hood, staring at the valley below. I'd given up my shot at a better gig last year, lead mechanic at a bigger shop, because Mom begged me to stay local for family. Lauren had thrown a fit when I even mentioned moving. You can't leave me with that piece of junk car. So I stayed, bent over engines while she posted selfies with captions about living her truth. Her truth was built on my back. I got to the cabin at dusk, a rickety place with a sagging porch. Inside, I dropped my bag and cracked a beer from the six-pack I'd brought. My phone lit up again. Lauren, seriously, Jake, fix this, we're stranded tomorrow if you don't. Stranded like I hadn't been stranded my whole life, tethered to their needs. I powered it off, took a long sip, and let the silence settle. For the first time in years, I wasn't running to someone's rescue. I wasn't sure what came next, but I knew one thing, they'd have to roll without me now. That Mustang could rust for all I cared. The Smokies were quiet that first morning, mist curling through the pines, the cabin creaking like it was stretching awake. I turned my phone off last night, but curiosity got me. I powered it on over coffee, and it buzzed like a kicked hive. Lauren's name flashed first, a voicemail from 7 a.m. Jake, the Mustang died on the highway last night. Matt missed a dinner with his biggest client. You owe us for this, you bailed when we needed you. Her voice was all edges, no hint of the sister who'd leaned on me for years. I deleted it, my jaw tight. She hadn't even asked how I was, just assumed I'd jump back under the hood. Then Mom texted, Lauren's stranded at some gas station. You need to fix this, Jake. Family doesn't ditch family. I stared at the screen, the words blurred. Family, funny how that only applied when they needed something. I stepped onto the porch, the cold wind bit my bare feet, and I tried to shake the anger rising in my chest. I'd spent 3 days up here. You can click on share and more to see if there is a part 2. To clear my head and not get dragged back into their mess, I opened Facebook, a dumb move. Lauren had posted a photo of the Mustang pulled over on the side of I-40, captioned, thanks to my deadbeat brother for screwing us over. Cars toast, nights ruined. Comments piled up fast. Typical Jake, wrote a cousin I towed out of a ditch last spring. Always unreliable, said a high school buddy who'd borrowed my tools for free. My throat burned. I'd poured 2 years into that car, my money, my sweat, and she flipped it into a lie. She didn't mention the reunion, her smirk, or how I'd driven her there in a Mustang she'd never have afforded herself. She just painted me as the flake. I tossed the phone onto the couch and paced the cabin, the floorboards groaning under me. That post wasn't just a jab, it was a gut punch. People I'd helped were buying her story, nodding along like I was the screw-up. I grabbed my keys, tempted to drive back and shove the truth in her face, but the mountain air stopped me. I came here to get away, not to crawl back. So I stayed, brewed another pot of coffee, and sat by the window watching deer pick through the brush. The rage didn't fade, it simmered slow and steady like an engine overheating. By afternoon, I hiked down to a creek, the rush of water loud enough to drown out my thoughts. I kept seeing her smirk from the reunion, but now it was sharper, meaner. With that post tacked on, she'd always been good at spinning things, crying to Mom when I wouldn't drop everything, charming Dad into thinking she was the victim. I'd let it slide because she was my little sister, 4 years younger, the one I was supposed to look out for. But this? This was her twisting the knife in public, knowing I'd see it, knowing it had spread. I kicked a rock into the stream and watched it sink. I'd fixed her messes since she was 16, her fender bender, her dead battery in a snowstorm, her emergency oil change before a date with Matt, and now I was the deadbeat. Back at the cabin, I checked my phone again, I couldn't help it. More texts, Dad, Lauren's a wreck. You going to step up or what? Aunt Kim, heard you left her high and dry, not cool. Nothing from Lauren, just her minions piling on. I almost typed a reply, a long one with every receipt I'd kept and every favor I'd done, but what was the point? They'd seen me as the grease-stained grunt for years, reliable until I wasn't. I shut the phone off again, grabbed a beer, and sat outside as the sun dipped low. The quiet was supposed to feel good, but it didn't, not yet. It was heavy like the moment before a storm breaks. I thought about calling Kara, my ex. She'd always said Lauren played me like a fiddle, that I'd never see it until it broke me. I hadn't listened then, but now her words rang true. I didn't text her, not ready for that, but I knew one thing. Lauren's post wasn't just a lie, it was a line in the sand. She'd made me the villain to save her own skin, and I wasn't running back to fix it this time. Let her figure out how to start that Mustang. I was done turning the key for her. I came back from the Smokies on Tuesday, the cabin's quiet still clung to me like damp air. The drive home was long with my truck's hum. I'd kept my phone off since Lauren's Facebook stunt, but the second I walked into my apartment, Dad's name lit up the screen. I answered, braced for the guilt trip. Jake, he said, voice low and hard. Lauren's telling everyone you stole parts from her Mustang before the reunion, says that's why it broke down. People are pissed. I froze, the duffel slipped from my shoulder. Stole parts? I paid for every damn bolt, hundreds out of my pocket, and she turned it into theft? She's lying, I said, my voice flat. Dad grunted. Well, she's got half the family believing it. You need to sort this out. He hung up before I could argue. I sank onto the couch as the weight of it sank in. First the deadbeat post, now this, a full-on smear campaign. I opened the family group chat and there it was. Uncle Ray heard Jake ripped off Lauren's car. Explains a lot. Aunt Kim, disappointing but not surprised. My cousin Tara, always knew he was shady. Shady? I towed Tara's Jeep out of mud 2 summers ago, no charge. I'd rebuilt Ray's pickup for peanuts. My hands shook as I scrolled through years of favors erased by Lauren's lie. She'd taken my work, my money, and now my name, twisting it to dodge her own mess. I could hear her smirk in every word they typed. I couldn't sit still. I grabbed my keys and drove to her place, a duplex she'd only kept because I'd covered her deposit. She opened the door in a bathrobe with messy hair like I'd interrupted her perfect life. What now, Jake? She snapped. Matt lounged on the couch behind her, smirking too. You're telling people I stole from you, I said, holding up a folder of receipts, everyone timestamped. This proves I paid for it all. She rolled her eyes. You're just jealous I'm moving up. Matt's got a real career, clients not carburetors. Matt snorted. Grease monkeys don't get it, man, you're out of your league. I dropped the folder on her doorstep. Read it or don't, I'm done. She laughed sharp and cold. You'll regret walking away. We're family, you don't get to quit. I turned and left, her words clawing at me as I climbed into my truck. Regret? The only regret was how long I'd let her play me. Back home, I poured a whiskey and sat at my kitchen table with the folder's contents spread out, $3,214.67 in black and white. I thought family meant loyalty, but to her? It meant a free ride. My phone buzzed, it was Kara replying to a text I'd sent from the Smokies. I'm done with them. Her message was short but clear. Good. I saw the post, she's trash for that. I typed back, she's saying I stole now. Can't win, she replied fast. You don't have to stop trying. I stared at that for a long time. Kara had walked away 3 years ago, tired of watching me bend over backwards for Lauren's crises, her car, her rent, her whining. You were better than their punching bag, she'd said then. I hadn't believed her, now I did. The whiskey burned going down but steadied me. Lauren's lie wasn't just about the Mustang, it was about keeping me small, the grunt who'd always cave. I'd spent my 20s propping her up while she flitted through boyfriends and bad ideas, all while wearing that thanks bro grin that never reached her eyes. Matt's jab stung too, grease monkey? Like my job was a joke, not the backbone that kept their lives running. I leaned back, the chair creaking, and thought about fighting this post with proof online or calling her out, but why? They'd already picked their side, her charm over my truth. I finished my glass and made a choice, no more fuel for her fire. Let her spin her stories, I wasn't fixing this one. 2 days after dropping off the receipts at Lauren's place, an email hit my inbox, her name in bold. Subject, you owe us. I opened it expecting another jab, but it was worse. A bill for $1,800, emergency repairs for the Mustang, $1,200 plus $600 for emotional damage from the reunion and highway breakdown. A line at the bottom read, pay by Friday or we'll tell everyone you're dodging responsibility. I laughed darkly. You can click on share and more to see if there is a part 3. Loud and shredded, it went through my paper shredder, the word drowning out the thud in my chest. She wasn't just lying now, she was extorting me, banking on my old habit of folding. Not this time. I grabbed my laptop and a USB stick I'd been filling since the Smokies, screenshots of her begging texts, receipts, that Facebook post calling me a deadbeat, and now this. I was done playing defense. Saturday rolled around, and Mom called about a family barbecue at their place. We need to talk, Jake, she said, her voice soft like she was prepping a guilt trip. I almost said no, but something clicked. Why hide? I'd go, and I'd bring everything. I showed up at 6 p.m., my truck parked crooked in their driveway, a backpack slung over my shoulder. The backyard was full, Dad flipping burgers, Aunt Kim sipping lemonade, Lauren and Matt whispering by the picnic table. They all went quiet when I walked in. I set my laptop on a folding chair, plugged in the USB, and said, you've had your say, now it's mine. Mom fidgeted. Jake, don't make a scene. I ignored her and hit play. First up were texts from Lauren, 2022, Jake, my car's dead again, please help. You're the best. Next, the receipt folder, $3,214.67, my name on every line. Then her post, deadbeat brother screwed us over. I paused it. That was after I rebuilt her Mustang for free. I started away, mentioning Uncle Ray, Tara, even Dad. I clicked again, a voicemail from last week, Lauren whining, you owe us for the client dinner Matt missed. Finally, the email projected big on the screen, $1,800 demanded, her signature at the bottom. She says, I stole parts too. I added, my voice steady, check the dates, I paid for it all. Silence hung thick, broken only by a cricket chirping. Lauren stood, her face red. You're twisting this, she said. You abandoned us. Matt nodded, his arms crossed. I looked at her as calmly as I could manage. Abandoned? I've been your mechanic, your bank, your doormat. You lied, said I stole, and now you're billing me for your tantrum. Mom stepped forward, her hands wringing. It's a misunderstanding, Jake, she didn't mean it. I cut her off. She meant every word, so did you. Standing by it, Dad slammed the spatula down. You're tearing this family apart over a car. I turned to him. No, Dad, I'm done being your spare tire. You let her trash me twice now, and you're still defending her. I pulled out my phone, opened an email draft I'd prepped to the whole family plus Lauren's boss at the boutique where she worked part-time. She'd bragged there about my useless brother last month, I'd heard it from a coworker pal. I attached the USB files, every lie laid bare. This goes out in 10 minutes, I said. Let them decide who's the deadbeat. Lauren lunged for the laptop, but I shut it. You're nothing without us, she screamed. I met her eyes. I was nothing with you, that's the difference. Matt muttered, pathetic, but he wouldn't look at me. I zipped my backpack. Enjoy the burgers, hope they taste better than your excuses. I walked to my truck. The air was cool against my face. Mom called after me, Jake, please. I didn't turn. I hit send on the email from the driver's seat, the whoosh sound cut through years of silence. My hands didn't shake, not anymore. I drove off, the barbecue shrinking in my rearview, and felt something new, light, like I dropped a toolbox I'd been hauling since I was a kid. Lauren could scream, Dad could fume, but I'd laid it all out. No more shadows to hide their crap. I turned up the radio, some old rock song about breaking free, and let it carry me home. They'd see the truth now, or they wouldn't. Either way, I wasn't their fix-it guy anymore. I didn't go home after the barbecue. I drove west, chasing the sunset until I hit a lake in Tennessee. The water was black and still under the stars. My truck's engine purred, my hands were my work, and for once, it wasn't hauling someone else's wreck. The email I'd sent had detonated by morning. Lauren texted, you're dead to me. Matt dumped her, and Tara called to say the family was a mess. Good, let it burn. Her lies, calling me a deadbeat, a thief, had cut deep, but they'd also unshackled me. I parked by the shore, cracked a beer, and breathed, no guilt, no buzzing phone, just me. Kara met me there the next day, her pickup kicked up dust. Over beers, she grinned. You've got that fire back, Jake, took you long enough. We didn't rekindle anything, but her pride stitched up a wound I hadn't named. Then my phone lit up, strangers after Tara posted a rant on TikTok. Jake's a jerk, ruined us. It backfired. Comments rolled in, he's a legend, cut my own toxic sis off because of this one. It hit hard. I stopped fixing my dad's life. Thanks, man. I wasn't aiming to be a hero, just to stand up. Mom tried one last plea, showing up at my place days later. We're lost without you, she said through the screen door, her eyes wet. You lost me when you picked your lies, I replied, and shut it. Her footsteps faded, and I felt nothing but relief. I booked a road trip west, open highway, no deadlines. Lauren's Mustang got scrapped last I heard, and she's flying solo. The family's fractured, pointing fingers, but I'm done caring. That night by the lake, I raised my beer to the sky and whispered, thanks for the reunion. Freedom hit harder than their approval ever could. I'd spent years under hoods, under their thumbs, thinking family meant taking the hits. Now I know it's a two-way road, and it left me in the ditch. I'm not their mechanic anymore, I'm just Jake, driving my own way, and that's enough. Note, the last part about thanking viewers for watching a video seems out of place in this narrative, so it has been removed. If you intended it to be part of a video script, you might want to adjust the ending accordingly.